Hi everyone, I'm Ron Cantor and you're watching Out of Zion on GODTV. In part one of this series, we asked the question, what did Paul mean when he said, in Yeshua, there is neither Jew nor Greek? We concluded that he was referring to the fact that God will receive any person, regardless of background, into his kingdom. In part two, we want to strengthen this conclusion. Let's take a quick look at our verse again. There is neither Jew nor Greek, there is neither slave nor free, there is neither male nor female, you are all one in Messiah Yeshua. If indeed Paul was saying that Jews in the Messiah are no longer part of natural Israel, we would see Jewish disciples forsaking Jewish life, right? But we can find zero evidence in the New Testament that any of the Jewish believers forsook their Jewish identity or calling. In fact, when Paul circumcises Timothy, who was Jewish through his mother but not raised as a Jew, he seems to be communicating the opposite. For the Jew, Jewish life is indeed important. This same Paul goes to Jerusalem after he writes Galatians. He's confronted by the apostles, who are concerned because rumors were spreading amongst the Jewish believers, tens of thousands according to Acts 21, verse 20, that Paul was no longer living as a Jew and teaching other Jews to forsake circumcision, Torah, and the Jewish customs. They say to him, "What shall we do?" They, the tens of thousands of Jewish believers, will certainly hear that you have come. So do what we tell you. There are 4 men with us who have made a vow. Take these men, join in their purification rites, and pay their expenses so that they can have their heads shaved. Then everyone will know that there is no truth in these reports about you, but that you yourself are living in obedience to the Torah. Now we know that Paul was no pushover. If he was not fully convinced that this was the right thing to do, he would have said so. Paul rebuked Peter to his face when Peter refused to have table fellowship with Gentile believers. But he doesn't protest, seeing that this is a godly plan. Furthermore, Paul refers to himself as a Pharisee in Acts chapter 23, and I'm pretty certain that all Pharisees were Jews. He takes a Nazirite vow in Acts 18 and refers to the Yom Kippur fast in chapter 27. And James, whose name is actually Jacob, can be found 30 years after the death and resurrection of Yeshua, his half-brother, living as a Jew in Jerusalem. According to the 2nd century Messianic Jewish historian Hegesippus, Jacob was the most respected Jew in Jerusalem, enjoying the favor of all 7 sects of Judaism. He was the senior apostle over the Jerusalem congregation and was the only person allowed to enter the temple whenever he desired, because he interceded for Israel. In other words, 30 years later, he is still living according to Torah. Now, to be clear, salvation cannot be found in keeping the Torah. And that was one of Paul's major issues with the Galatians. Jacob and Paul did not continue to live as Jews to earn salvation, but rather to live out their Jewish calling, as it is irrevocable according to Romans 11:29. So we must conclude that Paul could not have been seeking to communicate that the church has replaced Israel when he said that there is neither Jew nor Greek, but rather that he was saying, despite our differences, Jews, Greeks, male, female, we can all enjoy the salvation that Yeshua purchased through his sacrificial death. Now make sure to visit God.TV so you never miss an episode, and you can find me at roncantor.com.
Please follow Ron on Twitter and Facebook at Ron S. Cantor to find out more about Ron and his ministry. For more information on GODTV and the Out of Zion programs, or to view these programs again, go to god.tv/Zion.